have how to say we conducting on WSO2 Developer Studio. So WSO2 Developer Studio is a development tool to write applications which can be deployed on WSO2 Carbon servers. So Developer Studio is actually a development tool which is based on popular Eclipse IDE. So this Developer Studio contains a diverse set of tools such as a set of editors to edit your Synapse configurations, then to do Axis 2 configurations, data service configurations, likewise. And it is very easy to install as well.
WSO2 Developer Studio has a new project type called Carbon Application Project, as you can see in this image, which is known as a CF. So CF provides a packaging mechanism for carbon-based deployment artifacts such as Axis 2 services, proxy services, and DeepL workflow, as Arshana mentioned earlier. So Developer Studio has the capability to export these CF to any kind of carbon server. And also CAR is the deployment model for this CF. So CAR-based deployment models support testing, debugging CF artifacts, as you can see in this image.
So now we'll look at what Carbon Application Artifact means. So what Carbon Application Artifact means is it's actually deployable modules in a single Carbon server. If you take Axis 2 service, it is deployable on application server. And if you take a data service artifact, it can be deployed on data services server. So likewise, we have around 20 Carbon Application Artifacts supported in the Developer Studio. So what if you take a look at what consists of a Carbon Application Artifact, it has actually a name, a version, and a role. So these three properties make it a unique each and every Carbon Application Artifact.
So WSO2 Developer Studio tools mainly highlight these kind of set of tools. ESP editor, you can edit and test your Synapse configuration, proxy services, kind of things in this ESP editor, and the governance registry tool. It can handle all the governance related configurations, and the data service editor. In this beta release, we have improved the data service editor highly, and fully CF support for various kind of artifacts and configurations. And also you can see technical preview for you in the ESP in ESP graphical editor in this Developer Studio beta release.
And one important thing about Developer Studio is that Developer Studio is actually fully Maven integrated. So if you take one single artifact, each and every artifact is a separate Maven project. So we have provided a set of Maven plugins to build these artifact projects. So once you build this project, then you will get something like XML file for proxy service. Then if you take the Axis 2 service project, once you build that, you can get an AR file. If you create the CF and build that using Maven, then you will get the R file. So you can actually get this support using Maven support. And one more feature is that Maven multi-module project support. So you can create a single parent project, which is the Maven multi-parent project. Then you can create these each and every artifact inside that project and make them Maven modules. So what you get fixed is that you can build the root project. So all your child modules get built automatically. Then you can have a CF module, which is again a distribution module. Then you will get the CAR file.
So as Harshana mentioned, the Carbon Application Archive based deployment model you can see in this image. So we earlier described what is Carbon Application Artifact, and these kind of artifacts you can package into the car file, and these car files can be deployed in our any carbon-based server. So,
in a nutshell, if you consider about WSO2 Developer Studio, it's a one-stop tooling platform to develop, deploy, debug, and test your carbon application artifacts. What you get with this is you can deploy these car files and CF modules into your on-premise servers and as well as to cloud platform, which is WSO2 Stratos Live.
So in this webinar session, we are going to make a demo about how to develop an application using WSO2 Developer Studio. It's a real world problem. So let me explain about the background of this problem. So it's about a retail banking system. A retail banking system is a bank, something but the banking institution execute transactions directly with the customers. So the bank offers various kind of financial services, includes savings, transactional accounts, and personal loans, credit cards, so forth. So actually it's a one-stop shop for as many financial services. So in this case, we are going to address a real-world problem, that account opening process. So in a retail banking system. So let me explain the general aspect of this problem. So normal real world, the customer came into the bank and he wants to open an account. So the bank checks this customer already exists, or he is already a customer, or he has an account in the bank. So they will check the existing account for him, or if it is existing, the new services added to his account, and the account will be continued. But if the customer is not in the not already existing, we have to create a customer account and link all the other services into that account. So Harshana will explain the technical aspect of this problem.
So if I explain this further on technical aspect, as Kalva mentioned, so somewhere in the banking system, they are maintaining some kind of a record system about the existing customer. So in this case, if you consider it technically, they are maintaining a database. So we have that database here. Then again, they have some kind of mechanism or system in place to create accounts. So we are considering a mainframe process which is running a legacy system for that purpose. So we are considering that here. Then again, once you create the account or you merge the services into the same account, that account should have a card. That means it could be a debit card or credit card. So that card has to be issued. So for that also they have a separate service here. So we are representing that one here. What this card service does is it's responsible for issuing the card and sending the PIN number to the account owner. So what we are going to do with this demo is that we are going to integrate all these systems into single automated workflow using WSO2 Business Process Server, WSO2 Data Services Server, WSO2 Enterprise Service Bus, and WSO2 Application Server. So in this case, we will be using the product shown here. We will be using WSO2 Developer Studio 2.0 beta release installed on Active Helios J2EE edition. Then we will be using WSO2 ESP 4.03 release, WSO2 application server 4.1.2 release, WSO2 business process server 2.1.2 server, and a WSO2 data services server 2.6.3 release. Apart from that, we will be using MySQL 5.5 server to get our data service running, and ActiveMQ 5.6 to represent the JMS queue. So let's move on to the demo. So following are the demo outlines that we are going to show in this case. First, we will be setting up the database. Then we will be creating the data service. After that, we will be creating the mainframe network service and the card service. Then we will create the registry resources. After that, we are going to create the account service proxy service and the card service proxy. Finally, we will be creating the account opening business process, which is coordinating all these processes. So our first task is setting up the database. So let's move on to that. For that, we have already installed MySQL. So you can see here, MySQL is running as a service in my machine. So I'm going to use the MySQL client to connect to that. So I have already connected my MySQL client to that. Now I'm going to execute two queries. One is to create a database, and other one is to create a stored procedure. So I'm going to execute this one. Okay, now you can see it's executed. Now I'm going to execute the other query. Okay, now we have executed that one. So let's refresh the database and see. Okay, now you can see this customer database table, and there we have 3 columns, and we have this third procedure called get customer. So we have everything in place. So next step is to create the data service. So let's move on to that. First, we are going to create a data service project. For that, right click on the project explorer or select file, new, then other. Then you will get this dialog box. Select WSO2 category. There you will see something called service hosting. Select that. Select project type. Then you will see this data service project category. Select that and click on next. Since we have only limited time, we have already implemented the data service, so we are going to import the existing data service to our workspace. So I am selecting the import data service option and click on next. Now you can go into the existing data service file from here. So here is my data service. I am pointing to that and creating the project. Before that, I'm just click on next, and here you will see some Maven information. It's called group ID, artifact ID, and version. These information are used to store the Maven information related to this project, which will be used when you are creating the Carbon application project using the Maven system. So it's important to have this information as well. Now click on finish. So as you can see, now we have the customer database project and the data service. If you look at this data service, you can see this default config section. There you can provide the data service JDBC URL and the username and password. So I am going to change some of these configurations to enable connecting to my database. Okay, now we are done with those configurations. So now my data service application is complete. Just in case if you haven't seen a data service before, in a data service implementation you can see a SQL query, then you can provide parameters which are going to be involved, then you can define the result set, and in the result set you will be exposing some of the columns, so you can point to those columns as well. Then you are going to have some operations defined. That means these are the web service operations in your data service. Then you are going to map that data service operation into a SQL query. Here you are going to get in that. Then you have to pass the required parameters that SQL query. So they are mentioned here. So now we are going to move to the next section, that to creating mainframe of service and the card service. Since these services are access to services, our first task is to go and create the access to service. For that, again, you have to right click on new and select project, or you can select file new others. Now again go to WSO2 category, select service hosting, project type. There you will see this access to project, access to service project. Select that and click on next. Then I am going to create a new access to service, so I am selecting this option and click on next. Now it will ask for the project name. For that we will be entering mainframe for the service, and the package name would be WSO2 HCC, and the class would be again mainframe for the service. Once you enter all the information, you will be able to click on finish. Okay, now you can see this class is created here. Now you can go and implement your web service here. Since again to save some time, we have already implemented this service, so we will go and simply copy the existing implementation to the project. Okay, now you can see these two classes which is implementing the account service, access to service. Now we have, since in the previous diagram we have shown that this service is exposed as the JMS via JMS transport. So in this case we have to export this as a JMS transport service. So now we are going to set that information. To do that, go to SRC main resources meta-inf, and there you will see the services XML file. Open that. Then you need to enter the following config into your services XML file. I am going to simply copy that information here. Okay. Now we have added that JMS transport information here. So our mainframe module service is now complete. Now we are going to implement the card service, access to service. So that again, select, right click, new, project, service hosting project type, access to service, project, select next, create a new service project. Then again, we are going to provide the following name: card service, card access to service. Then our class will be org WSO2 sample package. Then the class again would be the card access to service. So I'm going to click on finish again. now you can see my card service project is created. To save some time, we are again copying the existing implementation. So I have copied my implementation classes here. Now you can see my implementation. We have this card which is a bean class, then the customer again a bean class, and the actual service. Since this is not exposed as a JMS service, so we are not going to add the same JMS parameters here. So now we are done with implementing card service as well. So our next step would be to start the ActiveMQ instance, which is going to be used in our sample. I have already downloaded Apache ActiveMQ 5.6.0 version, so I'm going to start that. So you can see my Apache ActiveMQ service starting out. Okay, now started. So our next step would be to configure our data Carbon server. So in that case, we have to do several configurations. So first one is to copy the JMS library into WSO2 application server and WSO2 ESP. I have already done that, so I will simply go and show this. They are resides in repository, component, lib. So you can see ActiveMQ core, Geronimo J2EE management, and Geronimo JMS spec is copied here. I have copied the same three jars into WSO2 ESP as well. The next thing we have to do is copy MySQL driver into WSO2 data services server. I have already done that, so you can see that in repository, component, lib. Here it is. The next thing is to enable JMS transport in WSO2 application server and in WSO2 ESP server. In order to do that, you have to go to repository conf access to XML. Here you will see transport in section. Here it is. Under this section, you will see the JMS transport. Over here it is actually commented out. So for the demonstration, I have enabled that. And in the out transport, also you have to enable the JMS transport. I have enabled it here. The same thing has to be done for WSO2 ESP as well. In case of WSO2 ESP, you should have to be more careful since WSO2 ESP supports two JMS queues. Make sure only to uncommit the ActiveMQ configuration. This is the ActiveMQ configuration. The other configuration is related to Apache QP. Since we are not going to use that, we are not going to uncommit that. So we are now ready to run this server. In order to run these servers, we will add these servers to WSO2 Developer Studio. In the Developer Studio window, you will see this server view. If you can't see the server view, first move to J2EE perspective. You can move in there by click Window, Open Perspective, and Other, then select JavaEE. Then you will see it here. If you still can't see it, then again go to Window, Show View, then select Other, then select Server. Now again you can see it here. Now we are going to add WSO2 application server into WSO2 Developer Studio. First, right click on the server thing, select new server, then it will pop up this window, then add WSO2 category, select Carbon 3.2 server, then click on next. Here you have to enter the JRE. This Carbon home means the root directory of your Carbon server instance. For example, for WSO2 ESP, this is the root directory. So we are going to point to those directories. In this case, I am going to use this one. So now click on next. Now you will see the port configuration in here. You don't have to change any other thing other than Carbon offset port. In this case, we are going to use the Carbon offset here, so I'm not going to change that one as well. But this Carbon offset service, it actually changes every other port that's going to be used in your Carbon server. Click on finish. Now you can see the WSO2 application server is added to your server. Yeah. If you want to rename it, just select that one, then click F2, then provide the name and press enter. Now you can see it's already renamed. In the same manner, we are going to add other three servers. First, we'll add WSO2 ESP. We are going to rename it from here. On F, I'm going to set port of test 1 to avoid clashes between the occupied ports. Okay. Now we are going to add WSO2 data services server. It's the same manner that you have to follow, same steps that you have to follow. Select this one, click on finish. Then you can rename it here. Select next, and I'm going to set it to port of the 6 and click on finish. Next, we are going to add WSO2 DPS server. So I'm going to point to my WSO2 DPS server here. Here it is. Then click on finish. Now you can rename it here. Click on next. I'm going to use the offset 2. Okay. Now all our servers have been added. Now you can go and start the server. For that, just select the server. Right click on that, then start, click on start. Then you will see these messages are printed on your console. You can do the same for other servers. So I have started all 4 servers at the same time, and you can see none of these ports are clashing with each other because we have changed the port offset correctly. So before going to the next section, which is going to be implementing registry resources, we are going to show you how deploying this created data service and the card service and the mainframe service on data service server and access to the application server. For do that, first you need to create the Carbon application project. Again, right click on the project explorer view, select new project, then you can see this distribution category. Under that, you can see carbon application project. Click that and select next. Then provide a name. We will be using banking sample as the name. Then we are going to add all three dependencies. Start the dependencies related to these three projects we have created. So I have created that one as well. Now you can go and deploy this banking sample app on your data services server and on your application server. We are waiting till this server starts up properly. Okay, as you can see, the data service server already started. Let's go and try to log into that. It's acting an admin. It's the username and password. Once you enter that, you can see you have entered the WSO2 data service server. So now we are going to deploy our workers from Eclipse itself. In order to deploy, first select the server that you want to deploy. In this case, I want to deploy into WSO2 DSS. Select that one, right click and select add and remove. Once you do that, you will get this add and remove dialog box. There you will see these two sections which are called available and configured, and this available section shows the available carbon applications that can be deployed in the server, and once you deploy some apps, that will be moved into other sections. So now I have added that to other section and click on finish. Once you do that, you will see some messages are printed on your data service server console. It will say it's deploying your banking sample card. So it has already deployed the data service. So you should be able to see that in data service management console. Here you can see that. In the same manner, we are going to deploy the same file into application server. Select application server, right click on that, select add and remove. From add and remove dialog box, select banking sample and click on add, then click on finish. Again, it will show deploying the carbon app in the console thing. So you should be able to now log into your application server and view that. As you can see here, it has successfully deployed both hard service and the mainframe POSIX service. Now I am going to log into the management console. You can see mainframe for the service and the hard access to service. So now we have completed after this stage. So our next step would be to create registry resources. So why we need registry resources? Let's say you have some XSLT file which should be consumed by your proxy service mediator. So you will need to be able to provide this XSLT file in an accessible place. So in order to do that, we create registries. These registries are stored in the registry of the Carbon server. It could be any Carbon server because each and every Carbon server has its own registry. In this case, we are going to store two files, that's a WSO2 and the transform XSLT file in the registry of the ESP server. So our next step would be to create that. Now you can go to Carbon Studio again. Right click on Project Explorer, select New Project. Now again go to WSO2 category, but this time you will have to select repository, and under repository you will see registry resource project. Select that, click on next, then it will ask for a name, provide registry resources and click on finish. In order to create registry resources, right click on the registry resources project, then select new. From this list, select registry resource. Now it will provide this window, and in this window you have 4 options. Out of these 4 options, we are going to select import from file system. Since we are going to add only single file, in this case I am selecting the browse file option. Select that one. Let's first add the hard service business. So you will see here a registry path to deploy. What this means is, this is the part that this registry resource is going to be deployed in your ESB server registry. So I am going to set that to underscore system / config. So this is the standard config repository. Now click on finish. Again we are going through the same step. Right click on the registry resource project, select new registry resource, import from file system, click on next, then select browse file. This time I am selecting the transform XSLT. Then I am going to set the path to deploy as again to underscore system config, which is the config repository of the registry. Click on finish, and you can see the registry resource editor, which allows you to change these elements. Once you select these elements, you can see these paths can be changed here as well. But in this case, we are not going to do any change to that. So just close that. So let's go ahead and deploy our registry resource. In order to do that, we are going to use a separate CF project. Right click on the project explorer, select new project, then Carbon application project. Now I am going to add these 2 elements here, then provide a name, let's say registry CF, and click on finish. In this registry app, once you go into this dependency section, you can expand the registry resource project, and there you will see this server role element here. What these server roles mean, in which server you want to deploy this element. So since we are going to deploy this on WSO2 ESP, we are going to change that to WSO2 ESP. Here I am setting it as enterprise service path. The other one also the same. Okay. Now it's ready to be deployed onto registry server. Now I'm going to show you another way of deploying the HCF. Select the HCF, right click on that, then select run as, then select run on server. Once you click that, you will see all the running servers on your machine. Now select WSO2, then select next, then you will see the configured and the available sections here. Then everything is fine, so just click on finish. Once you do that, you will see some messages printed out on your ESP console. Here they are. If you go to the registry, first you go to WSO2 Developer Studio. You can add the repository here. Since we are using the ESP, it would be localhost 9444. Go there. You can traverse your repository and see whether these elements are deployed. This is the system section and this is the config section, and you can see these elements are deployed here. So now your registry resources are deployed at the ESP. Again we are moving into Java EE perspective for the rest of the demonstration. So we are done with this step as well. So the next one would be to create account service and the hard service. To save some time, we have already created some of these settings. So we will import these into Workspace and show you. First, create a ESP project. In order to do that, select New Project. Then under WSO2 category, you will see Message Mediation. Then select Project Type, ESP Config Project. Then select Next and provide a name. I am providing it as enough config and click on Finish. Now you can see that project created here. Now let's go ahead and first create the mainframe for the service endpoint. In order to do that, right click on this ESP project, select New, then Endpoint. Then you will see the endpoint wizard coming up. So from here, select Import Category. Then click on Next. Then browse to the existing endpoint. This is the endpoint that we are using. Select that and click on Finish. Then you will see this mainframe endpoint is added here. Then you can select this one, and here you will see this URI para property. This URI property means the URI of the endpoint that we are referring. Since we are referring to the mainframe procedure, which is the JMS endpoint, we have to replace the existing one with ourselves. In order to do that, access the mainframe repository. Select this endpoint value shown here. Copy that and paste that value in the URI section. Okay. Now it's there. Now we are done with the mainframe endpoint. Now we are going to add the mainframe proxy. To do that, right click on the Synapse config, select new. From this list, select proxy service. Since we have already implemented it, just import it. The website import. So I'm going to select import proxy service option, select next, and click on browse. Select account service proxy. Now we have done that, click on finish. Then you will see this account service proxy. You can see the mediators here. So these mediators just the processing within the ES. So we are going to send the responses of all the messages of this from proxy to the mainframe endpoint. So we are going to set it to that. So select the endpoint, then you will see this endpoint key. Click on this icon or the button, then you will see this small editor. Then select workspace, then you will get this dialog. From there, you can select the mainframe endpoint. Okay. Now we have set the correct endpoint as well. So our next, so we have created the account service proxy successfully. So our next step would be to create hard service proxy. So let's follow the same steps. First, create the hard service endpoint. Select new endpoint. Let's import the existing one. There it is. Select that one. In the URI, you will see it's shown as localhost 9763 hard service. It's correct because we are pointing to the hard service running on application server, which is this one, and you can see this is the localhost 9763 server hard service. So it's already correct. So we are not going to touch that anymore. Close that part. Let's create the hard service proxy. Select new proxy. Now we are going to create a new proxy from the wizard. So select create new proxy wizard. Click on next. Then provide the proxy name. For that we are going to provide hard service. Select custom proxy and click on finish. Here we are going to set a wishes to this service. Since we have already added the wishes to the registry, we are going to set it from here. In order to do that, select the wishes element here. Then in the properties field, select the wishes type into pick from registry, and then wishes key. Again click on this small icon, then click workspace. From here you will see the existing. So I am selecting that. Okay. Now we are added the. Now we are going to add the mediators into our workspace. So first select the anonymous sequence, then right click on and select new child. We are going to add an XSLT transformation. So transform category, select XSLT. In this XSLT transformation, we are going to use the XSLT registry source that we have already created. So select this schema key, click on the small icon, select workspace. From here, you can select the XSLT file. Okay. Just in case, we are adding another logger to the flow. It's underscore log. Then we need to add a send mediator. So it's again in the O category. Here we have the send mediator. In order to send it, we need to send that to the card service endpoint we have already created. Since we have already created that, we can use this endpoint reference. In order to get that, first right click on the send mediator, select new child, click on endpoint reference register. Okay. Once you do that, you will get this element. Select this element and go to the properties view. From the properties view, select the endpoint key and click on this small icon. Select workspace. In this dialog box, you will see both endpoints you have created. Since we are going to send this message to the card service, we are going to select this one. Okay. Now we are done with the in sequence. We need to add a send mediator to send the results back to the file. So we need to add anonymous sequence first. Under that, we can add a send mediator. Okay. Now we are done with card service as well. Now you can go ahead and deploy this ESP artifact onto your ESP server. In order to do that, first go to banking sample and double click on the form, and there you will see this Linux config section, and click on that, select that, and you will see all these artifacts are selected, and select save all, and then again go to server view, select WSO2 ESP, right click on that, add and remove. From this add and remove menu, select banking sample and click on add. Then click on finish. Once you do that, you should see some messages printing on your ESP server console. Here they are. It says it's deploying banking sample card. Once this card deployed into the ESP, you should be able to see all the proxy service in the ESP server. Let's go ahead and access the management console of the ESP server. Again, provide admin and admin. Under the web services, you should be able to see those account service and the card service. So now we are done with up to now. So our next step would be to create the account service of opening the VPL process. So for that, let's go ahead and create the VPL process. Right click on this project explorer, select new project, then select business process, select VPL workflow. Select the create new VPL workflow and click on next. Provide the project name to account opening process. Once you enter that information, the other information will be automatically filled, and select the asynchronous VPL process template from this drop down and click on finish. Then you will see some of these information have already been added to our project. In order to save time, again we are going to replace the existing content with our own content that we have prepared for you. So I'm going to copy and new files into here. So as you can see now, the new information is here. So this is the complete BPL process that we have implemented for this use case. So let's go ahead and deploy the BPL process into BPL, the BPL server. In order to do that, again go to banking form, and here you will see some error because there are some validation error in this, but it won't affect the functionality. Just go ahead and select the account processing process here, tick it, and select that one. Then we have to go to the server view, select GPS, right click on that, select add and remove. Out of these two, select banking sample, add, and click on finish. Now you should be able to see these messages again printing on your BPS console. Once the process is deployed, we should be able to access that process via the management console. Okay, it seems the process already deployed, so let's access the management console from here. Provide the credentials admin and admin. Okay, here you can see that my service here. Go to processor, business processor, and select processor. Here you can see our business process. Select on that. Once you select that, you will see this window or this page. Then select try it. Now we are going to invoke our service and see how it goes. Now we have entered the information, and you can see the invocation is successful and this message has appeared here. So I have entered my NID as 111, my name is Arshana, the account type as current. Once I do that, I get the PIN as 312 and some other information as like account number, then the card number, then the customer ID, customer name, and the other information. If you change this information, let's change this information and see what happens. Then the new information is generated for calculus. So now we have automated the entire process using WSO2 DPS, WSO2 ESP, WSO2 application server, and WSO2 data services server. So this complete demo was developed using WSO2 Developer Studio, and you can see how powerful this tool is. So now we are done with the demonstration. So over to you, Kushal.
Harshana. So folks, that basically brings us to the end of today's webinar session, but we are now open for Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to send them in to us, and while you do so, I'll take you through two slides. The first one is a slide which basically gives you a snapshot of all the customers that we currently work with. So you can see there's eBay up there, there's Deutsche Bank, Microsoft, AAA, 2 Degrees. So we've actually done customer webinars with AAA and with 2 Degrees. In fact, the 2 Degrees webinar happened last week, and the webinar with eBay happens on the 7th of June. So you can join us to find out how eBay uses the WSO2 ESB to process over 1 million transactions a day. If you're interested in finding out more information about this webinar and for signing, if you want to sign up, I will send you a link on chat. You can check out the webinar on that link. And also right now on screen you can see our engagement model. So this ties in to what I mentioned at the start of the session. So there are different ways you can engage with us. So basically the start of the engagement model is a quick start, which consists of 2 engineers on site for a period of 1 week, moving on to development support, development services, production support, and our turnkey solutions. Okay, so let me hand over back to Harshana to answer your questions.
Okay, we have one question. That's what version of Carbon plugin used? I think you expect the answer for the Carbon or the Developer Studio version. We are using the Developer Studio 2.0 beta version, and if you are mentioning about the Carbon version, we are using Carbon Server 3.2.0 family. That's the latest one. WSO2 Application Server 4.1.2, WSO2 ESP 4.0.3, WSO2 BPS 2.1.2, and WSO2 DSS 2.6.3.
So I'm just going to run a quick poll now. I can see that there's another question that's come in. So Eduardo, if you can just give us a couple of minutes, I'm going to run a quick survey with regards to the webinar in just a bit. Let me get that up on screen. Okay, looks like the poll is giving issues, so I'll just send over the question to Kalpa and Harshana, and they will answer it for you.
We have another question here. What about connection to the http://ws.zones.apache.org? As far as we have experienced, this ws.zones is no longer active, and we believe that Apache.org has already taken down this site.
So that brings us to the end of today's webinar session. If you had any questions that you were unable to send in, please do email them to webinars@wso2.com, and also if you have any feedback with regards to this webinar or any other webinars, we would really like to know your comments. So please do email us on webinars@wso2.com. And just a heads up that all upcoming webinars are listed on wso2.org/library/webinars. So you can visit the link and check out all the webinars we have lined up for you, and you can register yourself for any webinar of your choice. So while thanking you for attending today's webinar session, let me also thank Harshana and Kalpa for presenting today's webinar. We hope you will join us for more webinars. And to the attendees, once again, thank you for being on today's session. Hope to see you once again. Have a good day.